Hello, I am Spartan Elite 43, and this is World of Warships Legends. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Spartan, what was that intro? Well, I've got something special for you guys today. We're doing a CC vid swap collab with none other than Xarkun. And that means we get a Nelson replay that is absolutely ridiculous. And you may have noticed he's in a division. You know, you might not have ever heard of these guys, but, you know, somebody by the name of Metajerk, Boogard's Fist, I mean, who's that? Nobody knows this guy, right? Of course we do. It's T-Bolt, a.k.a., you know, the next largest YouTuber for World of Warships Legends. You know, you may have heard of him. These three form one heck of a super team. But even they run into matches where sometimes it's just not in the cards. And that is a great teaching point. And also, I mean, you get to see Xarkun, a master in the Nelson. And make no mistakes, this man is a master in the Nelson. May have been on the, you know, giving and receiving end of some of my salt in a stream with Hivehound one day when I was divvied up with him, and I want to say it was Juice, but I can't remember. Either way, I was in the Nelson, he was in the Nelson, he was giving me what I thought was the most beautiful broadside I've ever seen, and due to some unfortunate RNG and some very good angling by him, even though it doesn't look like it, I managed to get my backside absolutely smashed by Xarkun. And so, yeah, it's one of those things that it just happened. Now you gotta love when fire starters pick on a Nelson or a Conqueror. Like, if there's ever any ship in the game that you're just like, oh please. And speaking of love, you gotta love seeing destroyers in a Nelson or Conqueror as well. If there's ever a ship that you just do not worry about fire starters or destroyers, it's the Nelson and the Conqueror. These things are world-renowned for their damage control and, or not really their damage control, but their ability to repair the damage. And we've got a broadside look at a Georgia here, but, you know, that HE is out there. But watch this HE just for now. Now, obviously, if he had AP loaded, it would have been a much better salvo. But still, 2,800 damage, we set a fire. He's going to damage con that immediately because every goofy battleship player always does. The good news for him is he's got a little bit of assistance from his teammate, but again, 13.7, he outruns the smoke, and even if he didn't, as soon as he fired his guns, that Georgia was going to get spotted anyway. But we're going to get another shot, and again, I'm expecting a fire, at least one. We're also expecting more damage this time. And right there you have it. We get another solid hit. We went from 24 all the way up to 8,500, and we get that fire that we were expecting. And that's going to be a permanent fire. He can't put this one out anytime soon. And there's the double fire, which is why you definitely don't want to damage con a single fire when you're in a battleship in a position to be set on fire again immediately. Don't do it. You will regret it. And so, yeah, you can see Xarkun, while he may be a master in the Nelson, is getting pretty fortunate when he's playing around with these 18-inch guns on the Georgia. Unlike a lot of other battleships, even 16-inch guns, the belt armor of the Nelson does not get along with the Georgia. At least in my experience being in the Georgia, I have absolutely ruined so many Nelsons that have tried to angle against me. Now, obviously, Xarkun's much better than most people in the Nelson. That's why he is a master of the Nelson. He gets another shot out here, this time armor piercing, and, you know, he's probably wishing he'd fired HE right there. Not gonna lie. Not the result he was looking for, but still, we're at 38,000 damage done. We've got 3 fires. He is kiting away a little bit, but again, gotta be a little worried here if the Georgia decides to shoot you. But clearly, the Georgia is interested in a, you know, booby prize over here. He's got Metajerk, I believe, in the cruiser, and Xarkun firing armor piercing at a decent angle. And yeah, he's gonna get a solid penetration here. We get about 11,000 damage on the Georgia. Xarkun being out-tiered here against 18-inch guns has to play it carefully. The damage control and the ability to heal of the Nelson doesn't give a crap if you get citadeled into Deathstroke, okay? Just putting that out there. But he's got the HE loaded back. He manages to avoid the torpedo that I can only assume came from the carrier, and he gets the kill on the Georgia with 6 penetrations with that high explosive. And that's why these things are so nasty. They have great AP if you get a chance to use it. It doesn't have the best penetration angles as other 16-inch guns, but the high explosive penetration on these ships is insane. And I think that's due to a difference in the British way that the high explosive is calculated. So I think most ships, the what do you call it? The penetration of the high explosive is divided by 6. So you take the caliber, you divide it by 6, that's your penetration on your high explosive. For the British, I believe it is divide that by 4 instead of 6, which is a huge difference. Okay? Benson comes out here at 10.9 kilometers, and Xarkun fires his guns at him. Why? Because when a destroyer's spotted, you take that shot. And he gets a solid result, just 1 hit, but sets a fire, and manages to score 2,500 damage. And the fire is burning, which means that Benson is going to be hurting, because Bensons don't get heals. And a permafire is no good. Plus, it keeps him spotted. It increases your spotting range when or your detection range when you're on fire. So Xarkun in the Nelson here, again, lining up a shot. You wait for the destroyer to commit, and then you take the shot. You don't want to shoot when they're narrow. You want to wait for them to commit to a turn and then take that shot. And a beautiful place shot, and down goes the Benson. You gotta love it. Vladdy takes a shot, and Xarkun, honestly, gets pretty fortunate once again. You get really bad dispersion. Only a single shell, I believe, hit him there. Could have been devastating. And that's the risk you play in the Nelson. The Nelson has very, very thin armor everywhere. I believe it's 16 millimeter bow and 16 millimeters everywhere except the belt. The belt is actually fantastic on this thing, but it's a very small part of the ship that is decently armored. And if you misjudge by a little bit, your trip in the game can come to a halt real quick in the Nelson. I love the ship, don't get me wrong. But it is just one of those ships where you know you're riding the lightning. Any chance that somebody gets to shoot at you in anything, cruisers get a broadside on you, it's Citadel City for them. If a battleship gets your broadside, it's usually a dev strike. If a 16-inch battleship or larger, actually it doesn't even need to be 16 inches. Like I said, I'm fairly confident this thing has a 16 millimeter bow, which can be overmatched by pretty much everything battleship caliber. I don't have my calculator up right now to do the quick conversion, but if I am correct, and it is 16 millimeters, we take 16 times 14.3, and there is 228.8 millimeters, meaning basically everything that is British heavy cruiser and above, and by British heavy cruiser, I mean the Surrey, I believe, has 234 millimeter guns. So anything above that can overmatch the Nelson's bow. And the Nelson takes a lot of citadels through the bow. Now, what you have to do, and Xarkun is going to do this better than anybody, is you have to be able to show the side belt of your ship, because it baits battleships in, because everybody's looking for that dev strike. Every one of them. I'm included in that. Look at that. 11,000 damage on the bow of a Vladivostok. Oh my god. Is this HE broken on these British battleships? Like, it's insane. Now, obviously, he's under quite a bit of duress. He's being shot at by everybody. I believe the destroyer for them have already passed away. He is no longer with us. So it is just Meta and Xarkun trying to bring this match back versus 5 enemy ships, and they still have a destroyer. But you can see Xarkun getting a good chance to regain some health using that super heal that you just gotta love at this point. Like, not quite as good as the Conquerors, but it's pretty freaking good. It'll screw with your mind as a battleship captain, because I don't know about you guys, I tend to keep in my head how much hit points roughly somebody has. If you look at the little notches on somebody's health bar, like currently the Vladdy has just under 4, you can get an idea of how much health they got. We get 6 penetrations and a double fire. Vladdy is not long for this world. Now, Vladivostok does get those quick duration damage cons, and it may save him, but honestly, I highly doubt it. I think he's going down in this one. I don't know that he'll get a heal or get a damage con back before he gets hit. Now, this is still a winnable game. This is very, very close. But Vladivostok does get either gets a heal and saves himself, or gets a damage con back quick enough. And you can see Xarkun going for that Japanese destroyer. Out of all of the ships that are left in this match, he is the largest threat to Xarkun and his team winning this match. Now you can see Meta, I believe it's Meta, in the cruiser, in the Bravo cap, trying to win. Now obviously, they managed to take out our aircraft carrier. That's not preferable. Odin is a one-shot kill, guaranteed to go down. If you hit him with a single HE shell, he's done. Now, Destroyer was spotted just for a split second. You can see Xarkun did look in the direction, hoping that he was going to light back up from a plane from the friendly carrier. Doesn't get it. He fires the guns at the Odin and manages to take him out pretty easily. Guaranteed kill. And you can see, of course, now the Destroyer is spotted by those bombers. The bombers are spotting, trying to do their best. The best way to do this, he only has one bomber left. And so he needs to use that, stay away from AA, and spot that destroyer. Because you've got a battleship and a cruiser, and that's it. And the cruiser is going toe-to-toe, just, I think, fought a battleship and is now fighting a cruiser over there. Could be wrong. It looks like that's actually a battleship, I lied. So he is fighting a battleship in a cruiser at close range. That does not bode well for Meta. It's not generally going to end in his favor. And the battleship's actually, to his credit, firing at Xarkun. He knows that this thing is a threat. He's going to do his darndest to hold it, to get rid of Xarkun. So Xarkun is lining up what should be the easiest kill ever. The bombers land and unfortunately don't get rid of him. Of course, Vladdy is going to go down here. But is the Vladdy's death salvo going to get through? And he gets very, very lucky once again. I don't know if it's luck at this point. You can only be lucky so many times. Xarkun seems to point out more often than not that that belt saves his bacon. Now, Leon comes around again. We know that Leon overmatches the bow. He takes a shot at that belt, and Xarkun in the Nelson is able to turn in and avoid. Now, we still have Meta playing keep away in the center cap. There's a destroyer coming up behind Xarkun right now. He's going to have to watch that. If he gets a shot, he's going to have to take it. The destroyer could very well kill Meta here. Meta's very low health. I don't know if you saw it flash across the screen, but he's very low health. Leon could easily kill Xarkun with one salvo through the bow right now. It could very easily happen because the Nelson takes citadels through the bow very easily. So you see Xarkun going in. He is opening the angle up, trying to bait the shot into the bow, but also trying to avoid any potential torpedoes that are coming. And as you can see, he manages to avoid them. The secondaries are firing. Meta, unfortunately, goes down to the Leon. And this is an unfortunate predicament here. Leon knows that all he has to do is ram to win this match. And it is absolutely the right play to make in this situation if you can. You guarantee the win for your team. Unfortunately, because he was looking around, he wasn't able to get the guns rotated fast enough, and this is not going to go well for you. If he gets a single gun turned at this point, he is going straight through the rear of your ship, and down you go. Like that is how that works. He does have a heal here, and I would like to see him pop it because it could be the difference between him living and dying, and unfortunately he hits the heal just a little too late, and Leon does exactly what I said he was going to do, which is get a single gun around and absolutely wreck him. But Xarkun did everything he could. 2,100 base XP with 4 kills and a loss. You gotta love anytime you're in a battleship and you get 2,000 base XP and a loss, you did everything in your power to win. Now, that being said, we're going to do a bit of a double feature, and this time, he's not in the Nelson, he's in the Vladivostok. Now, you don't see a lot of Vladivostok games on the internet anymore. I've played a few of them. I've had some really good success in the Vladdy under specific circumstances, but is it a ship that I like to play? Absolutely not. This is a ship that it is very, very good in very specific situations. And unless you're in those situations, it just feels like more often than not, you're a detriment to your team. But with that being said, Xarkun is going to hopefully show us a very, very good replay. So we're going to get in. It looks like he's going left immediately. He could be moving up to use the island as cover and post up mid. Not necessarily a bad strategy, especially in something as tanky as the Vlad. The only downside is you got to watch that right side. If they win that right side, they've got your broadside all day long. And you do not give the broadside of your Russian battleship to anybody. Anybody. Just see my Azuma game and what I did to the Vladivostok in that one. That went broadside at 10 kilometers in front of my Azuma. And everybody knows the Azuma's bad, right? But I loaded armor piercing, and that Vladi had a real bad time. So, yeah. Vladivostok, very tanky until it overangles, and then it's very, very quickly removed. But you can see he's not firing his guns, even though there are guys out there. Doesn't want to give himself up just yet. He is looking. He's got a Bismarck and a Bismarck pushing mid. And anytime you see two Bismarcks together like that, you've got to assume that they are just going to rush. Okay? That is almost, I'd say 96% of the time, if you see two Bismarcks together, they are just going to bull rush right into wherever they spawn. And so you've got to plan for that and be ready for it. A lot of people let those Bismarcks bully them in those situations. You got to know how to get damage on a bow tanking Bismarck and be able to push them back. And the best way to do it is to concentrate fire on them. As you can see, our team is all shooting at those Bismarcks. Now, obviously, Vladivostok is spotted by the destroyer in Charlie, and the Georgia fires high explosive at him. Now, Xarkun feels some type of way about pushing to the left. His team isn't really showcasing exactly what they want to do. They're letting the destroyer cap, even though it's just a cruiser right there that could easily influence that. So he circles back, and he's going to have some pretty juicy shots here at these Bismarcks that have overextended and put themselves in harm's way. Again, you know it's going to happen. You know these Bismarcks, every single time they decide to like spawn Bismarcks next to one another, or God forbid they be in a division. Look at this beautiful broadside here. Gets the front guns away. This is inside 11 kilometers, so it benefits from that added dispersion that Russian battleships get inside 11 kilometers. And you can see firing some pretty juicy salvos of railguns at the sides of these Bismarcks. Now, unfortunately, didn't get what we expected out of it. I honestly thought I'd see 20 or 30,000 damage there, even without citadels, just because, I mean, it's a broadside Bismarck. It is literally a damage sponge. But gets pretty fortunate. Bismarck's able to get bow in again. He aims high, going for those guns in superstructure, and doesn't manage to take a gun. Gets a single overpin into the superstructure, and we're at 16,000 damage. The first Bismarck, the lead Bismarck, is under duress. He's almost out of the fight. There's not a whole lot he can do here. We have lost our destroyer somehow. I'm guessing, you know, YOLOing two Bismarcks, probably not the best play. But, you know, it happens. But Xarkun going to go ahead and finish this guy off, easily firing into the superstructure, which was not saturated, which is what you always love to see in a sub 50% hit point Bismarck or an American battleship. Now, speaking of American battleships, we got a decently angled but a little too broadside Georgia out there, and I don't know, it looked pretty solid, and he gets 2 penetration, 1 overpin, 1 full penetration. He's up to 26,000 damage. Again, not the highest damage so far in the opening 4.5 minutes of this match, but you can see both teams are pretty evenly matched. Now, the enemy team has lost 3 battleships, and we have lost a battleship, cruiser, and a destroyer. Now, if you look at this, you would say, well, clearly my team is going to overrun them. They've lost 3 battleships. That's a lot of hit points off the board. You are correct. However, the team with the destroyer, more often than not, especially in a domination match, is in the advantage because destroyers are so incredibly powerful in this game. Now, Xarkun doing the right thing, moving forward, not sitting in the back, settling for long-range sniping shots like a lot of battleship captains do. He is pushing into the center cap to get some cap control, recognizing that the enemy controls 2 caps. He's got a juicy shot at the broadside of a hipper, and if this is anything less than a depth strike, I'm going to be upset. Yeah, there we go. And it is less than a depth strike because you can only get a single citadel, right? Like, those were tight. And it was almost all horizontal dispersion. I have no idea how the game justifies that only being a single citadel. That should have been a dev strike. That was juicy. But it doesn't matter because the guns are going to reload relatively quickly. We are going to get another shot at a slightly angled hipper. And, you know, angled hippers, even easier to citadel for battleships. And wait for it. Down he goes. He doesn't get the citadel, surprisingly. But he does get the kill. And that is his second kill of the game. Now, New Orleans, absolutely juicy out there, begging for it. Once again, not paying attention to the map and presenting a juicy broadside to a very formidable battleship. And he already gets tagged by one of the two battleships that's with Xarkun. And Xarkun leads him, giving it a little over 2 full mils. And that's awful dispersion, but honestly, it's a New Orleans. And he gets the kill because it's a New Orleans. Any battleship hits that thing is pretty much Citadel City, just like the Pensacola. Now, we have this base. You've got to look at what the team is doing. You can see their battleship and cruiser are heading over to the left. There's only a single destroyer over there. So Xarkun plants his nose right in towards the Georgia and completely negates anything that the Georgia is going to be able to do to him. And takes a pretty juicy salvo here, pretty tight. And gets a really nice result, 9,200 damage, no Citadel unfortunately, but you can't get Citadels every... Speaking of Citadels, somebody just touched that man. He just lost half his hit points real quick. But yeah, we're going to push into the Alpha Cap. The cruiser has already started capping. This is a good thing. This turns the tide of the war. You can see they actually have the points lead. But us being in the cap is going to allow us to stop their points lead from getting larger. And then if we can get this cap controlled, then we are going to be able to gain the lead in points, even if we are unable to kill anybody else. If everybody on the enemy team just turned and ran away. Now this is where you got to start feeling a little some type of way. You're in a ship that maybe you don't play that often. I don't know. Maybe he does. But maybe you don't play that often in the Vladdy. And you're up against a ship that you know like the back of your hand. Like, he knows the Nelson better than probably anybody. And so anytime you get a chance to take a shot like that, you're just salivating. Or at least maybe I am. But he also knows the Georgia's there is actually the bigger threat. Nelson can... Oh my god. Never mind. Wait for it. Pow! You gotta love it. 3 Citadels, down he goes. That guy needs to go to Xarkun's School of Nelsoning and learn to angle the belt rather than just sailing flat broadside. That was a paddling. And at this point, honestly, it's not out of the realm of possibility to just go for the ram and end this threat. It's an easy win at this point. But he goes, he aims for superstructure and guns, doesn't manage to take out a gun, and you can see it does in fact look like Georgia is turning in and Xarkun is also turning in, and these guys give him the kiss of death and the Kraken unleashed. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you punch the like button, leave a comment below. 135,000 Dev Strike High Cow, top of the leaderboard, 2,500 base XP. I'll leave a link to Xarkun's video that we did for the collab, and make sure if you like what he's doing, punch that subscribe button for him, hit that like, and just say hello from the Spartan Army. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.